What's up? It's your boy Vibes by Bray because I'm always bringing you the good vibes. And you're tuned in to in 5678 the podcast, where we discuss everything dance industry related beyond the steps.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. 7, 8.
You're tuned in to in 5678 the podcast with Vibes by Bray, only on YouTube. Broadcasted by Riverside.fm.
On today's episode, I am joined by dancer, choreographer, and assistant coach of the Brooklynette, Celine Boom Edmondson. Y'all give it up.
Hi. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me. We're going to go ahead and get right into it, all right?
Let's do it.
Okay, so can you just give us a introduction of who Celine is?
Hi, everyone. I'm Celine Boom Edmondson. You gave my title, which I'm the assistant coach of the Brooklynette's dance team. Prior to that, I was on the team for 7 seasons. So I'm also a dancer, still a dancer in training. I'm a mother. I'm a chef. I'm a creative director. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm all the things. And who I am just as a person is just someone who values authenticity. And that is also who I am as an artist as well. And yeah, I feel like I'm a Libra, so we're in Libra season, and y'all know how to get down. You know, I love a good time.
Okay, you have a lot of different titles under your belt. I learned something new. Didn't know you were a chef, so that's good to know as well. Now, can you tell us about how your journey as a dancer began?
So I started in an after-school program when I was 12 years old. I grew up in the inner city, Bridgeport, Connecticut, and, single mother, didn't have the funds to put me in any extracurriculars that I wanted to do, but this dance program came to my middle school or my elementary school at the time, and it was like $30 a month. And so I started in a hallway, no mirrors, concrete floor, with this wonderful woman. Her name was Ashley Meredith, who came and was my first dance teacher. And from there, she was teaching at a proper studio. And I say proper meaning there was, wood floor, mirror, ballet bars, something that I had never experienced. And she was a teacher at a studio in another town in Connecticut. And she brought me with her one day. The director of that studio offered me a scholarship. And from there, I never stopped dancing or taking class. And from Westport Dance Center, which it was called at the time, I went on to go to Ailey Summer Intensive. I did Earl Mosley's Institute of the Arts twice. I also joined my company here in Connecticut. It's called Double Up Dance Company and Team Lego. It was the first, I would say, street styles company that I joined, and I would join that when I was 14. And I'm still a member now. After all of that training here within Connecticut and New York, I went to Philadelphia where I earned my BFA from the University of the Arts. While I was in college at the University of the Arts, I decided that concert dance was no longer for me. And I was one-head modern dancer holding down. And, hip-hop and street styles was something that I didn't think I could have a career in. Because I thought the prestige of having a career was, in ballet, in modern, and being in a company. And so I didn't audition for my first agency until I was in college. That's when I auditioned for the Brooklynettes my sophomore year. And from there, my commercial career kind of took off. And I auditioned for a bunch of things, booked a lot of things, danced with a lot of artists. And here we are today. That was kind of long-winded, sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. How would you say that your technical background has shaped your training?
So the discipline, 100% the discipline. Number one, my head coach, Asha Singh of the Nets, and I talk about this all the time, how the discipline we feel is missing from this generation of dancers. And I will say that my concert dance background has definitely instilled that in me. Just the work ethic, the discipline, and just the respect for the craft. There was this sense of needing to know where everything came from and not appropriating things. And so that's kind of shaped how I approach street dance and street styles as well, because I kind of went into it with this hunger and kind of academia mindset where it's like, I'm not just going to do something because I remember doing it in the park on the block, you know, like now I want to know like where it actually comes from.
Yeah, and the discipline part of dance is super important because a lot of dancers don't have the training in a technical background. And so, what would you say for like a hip hop dancer? What is the importance of understanding that technical background as a hip hop dancer who has never even trained technical before?
I think it's less about the dance vocabulary that comes from the technical background. I'm going to correct and say Western technique because hip hop also has different techniques.
Right.
So, not having that Western technique background or growing up in a studio, it's less about the dance movement and it's more so about the different etiquettes in different environments. Because, you know, I also work with a lot of hip hop dancers, street dancers, and the etiquette that you would have at a battle or a jam is not something that you would have in the studio. And so I think not only do they need to understand the difference, but the dancers who have grown up in a studio, they also need to understand the etiquette elsewhere as well. And
Absolutely.
so I think there's a separation still. And in my spaces, I'm seeing that come together. But I think overall, those two spaces can come together even more so we understand that one hand washes the other.
Right. How would you suggest that those spaces come together?
It's really just being open to share and not gatekeeping, right? And like having studio owners being open to bringing street dancers into their space to educate their dancers.
Absolutely.
And then also street dancers being open to being in those spaces as well. Even on the commercial side, it's like there's a certain way, sorry to say it, but there's a certain way that every space is run, right? So there's a certain way that things are ran on a commercial side. And so everybody has to, you know, understand how things are run in different spaces.
Absolutely. Now, what ultimately sparked your interest into becoming a Brooklynette?
Honestly, my mentor at the time was like, you need to get a job.
That's real.
I was only 19. But I had just been signed to Clear Talent Group, which was my first agency. And he was like, yeah, no, you need to get on it. You need to book something. And so he told me to audition for that. Actually, it's funny, a year prior to that, I had auditioned for the Sixers, Philadelphia, because I was already my first year in college. I was like, oh, I might as well audition for this. Like, it's a dance job. And I didn't get that. Fast forward, I made the Brooklynettes, and here we are 10 years later.
Now, how do you handle, you said that you did not make it when you auditioned in Philadelphia. How do you handle rejection?
You just move on to the next. And also,
Absolutely.
I'm very deeply rooted in faith, God, and just knowing and, yeah, just a deep knowing that what's for me isn't going to pass me, you know? And that I know that sounds cliche, but it's the truth.
No, it definitely is. That's the space that I'm currently in. And I'm also learning, like, how to build spiritual resilience. So that's like, faith is one thing that I stand on, especially like being a professional dancer and pursuing dance. Everything isn't going to be for me, and God won't let what's for me pass me by. So if I don't get something, you know, like you said, it's time to just move on to the next, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. And earlier you mentioned that you didn't have the resources growing up to get into the training programs that you wanted to get into. Now, when you did start training, how was your support system from your mom?
Oh, it was like 1,000%. My family supported me so much. However, I do come from both an Asian background and a Caribbean background. And for people who don't know, who are listening in, those are two very strict cultures in terms of like, you know, we work hard. Both of my parents are immigrants, and so are my grandparents who raised me. And so when it came time to go to college, it was like, you going to school for dance? And so that's when, I wouldn't say the support dwindled, but I guess the understanding was lacking. Like, oh, we don't understand why you're making this choice. But the support was always there.
So I like to share this story as well because my background is a Christian background. And then my dad also was military. Mom was a pastor, dad was in the military. So when I decided that I wanted to pursue dance, I had a similar experience. And to this day, they still don't quite understand, but it's like they see the joy that it brings me. So they are like rooting me on, but it's still like some things they just don't understand, especially when they come to the shows and they see certain things that are happening. They're like, I mean, that was good, I think. Like, I'm not sure what I was what I was just watching, but it's just interesting to hear your perspective from that, because it's like I had the support from like friends and then their parents and things like that. But it was almost kind of like pulling teeth from my parents because I also have older parents as well. So it was just one of those things where it was like, I can't force them to understand. I can only show them that this is my passion. And if you see what it's bringing into my life and what it's doing for me, then maybe you'll appreciate it a little more, even if you don't 100% understand it.
Absolutely. Well, that's beautiful that you said they see the joy that it brings you. I think that's the most important.
Yes, exactly. And with my most recent endeavor, I do dance for the Washington Wizards now. And so when that happened, it was not even in my plan to for this to happen. So when it happened, both of them are excited and they're like, so this can bring, bigger opportunities, because I've been in dancing since I was in third grade. But the way that I pursued it and the way that I was going about being a dancer, I didn't take it as serious when I was younger. So it came to a point when I was in Atlanta where I started training more intentionally because I understood what dance meant to me. Because at first it was more sort of a hobby, but then it turned into a passion, and it was like, oh no, I can really do this. So when I started getting certain opportunities, they're like, as you said, they're like, oh, you can get this, or oh, dance can pay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes they think as an artist, which sometimes it's not always sunshine,
Right.
Yeah, but when they see what can happen from dance, it changes their perspective a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. I definitely resonate with that for sure.
So you mentioned earlier as well that you are a mother. How has balancing motherhood been for you while pursuing dance?
It is not for the weak. I'm going to just say that one more time. It's not for the weak. It's definitely been very rewarding because it's like, wow, here's another thing that I can accomplish and that I can juggle and that I can, but I would not be able to do that without my village, my family, my friends. Like, ooh, motherhood is not for wimps. I'll tell you that right now.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. With the realness, it's been stressful. It's very stressful, especially because my little one, he's only 9 months, but he acts like he's 9 years old. He's very active. So it's like, I keep up. I'm a boy mom. So it's like, whoo, boys just have a lot of energy. And it's been hard, but I think I've done a great job at handling everything well, or it looks that way, and getting back to what makes me happy. Because I think as a mom, that's one thing that, it's really hard to do. Like, postpartum is really a real thing. And sometimes you get lost. You lose your identity. Like, once you give birth, you're also giving birth to a new you and, grieving your old self. Oh, shoot. I thought I lost you. Sorry. But, yeah, just getting back to what makes me happy has been rewarding while still raising a new human. It's tremendously rewarding.
Yes, that's definitely a beautiful story, and thank you for sharing that. What would you say are some ways that you help yourself get back to you?
Getting back to dance.
Yes.
I'm not going to hold you. Like, the 6-week checkup after I gave birth, I went to my provider, and every time that you go after you give birth, they do a mental health check on the mother, because postpartum depression is a real thing. And so I was depressed, according to my provider, and she was like, well, do you want to go on medication? And I'm like, no, let me do what makes me happy first and see, let me see if I can get myself out of this rut. Let me see if I can get myself out of this mental issue. And that's exactly what I did. I got back to being at Barclays Center and coaching the girls and coaching the team and getting back to teaching, getting back to creating. And that's really helped me get back to myself.
Yes, and I love that because the power of dance is so strong. Even when I can't find the words to say certain things, I can put on some music dance in my room, dance in the studio, start creating, and just tell a story that sometimes my words can't say. So I'm glad that you were able to get back to what you love because you're definitely great at it.
Oh,
So
thank you so
I'm
much.
glad that you back doing your thing. So you were on one of the biggest Netflix series, The Dance 100.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your experience on that show and like maybe some lessons that you've learned about your work as a choreographer?
Yeah, that show was definitely a stepping stone into this next version and level of myself for sure. In retrospect, I look back and talk about it all the time.
Mhm.
The process itself was quite stressful, I'm not gonna lie. It was stressful, but I did learn a lot. And one of the things I learned just logistically is to never walk into a room unprepared.
Mhm.
At that point, as a choreographer, I mean, as we all are as artists, I had to be inspired by what I was hearing. And a lot of the times I made things up on the spot, which is a muscle that I'm proud that I have and I can utilize. But under those circumstances, it was like, girl, you should have prepped at least 4/8 before you came here. So, but it was hard because I didn't choose the music. The music was given to me and I wasn't always inspired by the track that I had. So it was difficult. But now I've learned, now I don't walk into a room without at least a concept, a vision, or something, and it's also taught me to make adjustments on the spot as well. It's taught me how to be even better under pressure. Back then I thought I was good under pressure, which I was, and now I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
definitely, you can't rock me under pressure at all. I dealt with a big crowd before getting on the show, obviously with the Brooklynettes and our male team Hype, dealing with 30 to 40 dancers at a time. Now it's like piece of cake. I can deal with anybody, So
Yeah.
it was stressful at the time, but I learned a lot.
So when it comes to being a choreographer, I'm the same way in a sense. I like to know who I'm working with or like what they're capable of doing. So all the times I don't have like a full layout, but I'll have like bits and pieces in my head so I can see. And sometimes I want to be so different. It's kind of hard to create that in advance because I feel like I need the bodies. Uh, so I definitely get where you're coming from with
Exactly.
that. But it is also something that I'm learning because I have been in a rehearsal where that's my teaching style, but that's not people's learning styles.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to like know my audience because I would come to rehearsal ready in the sense of what I'm used to doing, and people are getting irritated with me and like, oh, why don't you have anything? And everybody doesn't like when you come and put stuff on them on the fly. So it's still something that I'm learning because it's good to have your teaching style, but it's also good to, as you said, make those adjustments as you go along.
Exactly.
So now we are getting ready to play a game. We're going to do a round of rapid fire.
Yay.
So with this game, it's a total of 10 questions. 5 are going to be dance trivia, and 5 are just going to be random personal dance questions. All righty. You ready?
Let's get it.
All right, so we're gonna get 22 seconds on the clock,
Oh my gosh.
starting now. What's your favorite dance movie?
Save the Last Dance.
Which famous choreographer created the dance piece Revelations, a cornerstone of modern dance?
Alvin Ailey.
Sneakers or heels?
Oh my, both. I'm sorry, I can't choose.
Who was the principal dancer of the American Ballet Theater and the first African American woman promoted to the position?
Why is it Misty Copeland?
Yep. Favorite dancer of all time?
For me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Jay Blaze.
What is the name of the 1984 film in which Kevin Bacon's character fights to bring dancing back to a small town?
I have no idea.
Okay, we can pass.
Oh my gosh.
Freestyle or choreography?
Choreo.
Which modern dance pioneer developed the contract and release technique?
Martha Graham.
Dream choreographer to work with?
Lyle Benica.
And which famous dance in 1920s America involved flapping movements of the arms and legs and became symbolic of the jazz age?
Wait, I can't. I'm like too fast. I'm like, I have to read the question. Flapping arm movements of the what age? The jazz
The
age?
1920s America And
Queen?
no, not too far.
Lindy Hop?
Close.
I'm
No, don't be embarrassed. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So we're gonna go ahead over the two that you missed. The first one, the 1984 film in which Kevin Bacon's character fights to bring dancing back to a small town, was Footloose.
Okay.
And
I've
then
never seen Footloose, guys.
no,
Never. Sorry.
I love that movie. No, it's okay. And then the second question, the famous dance in 1920s America that involved flapping movements of the arms and legs and became symbolic of the jazz age. I'm gonna give you that one because you were close enough, but it was the Charleston.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's all in
And
the same
rock,
family.
kind
So you got that one. We're gonna give
Okay,
it to
thank
you.
you.
All righty. So now our next segment, I do want to give a shout out to my sponsor. On each and every episode, I am rocking custom pieces from Catico Streetwear. Yes, yes. And today's feature item is going to be our Quiet on Set hoodie.
I love that.
One of my favorites. And the front says "Sh." Yes, it's one of my favorites. It is comfortable and affordable streetwear for dancers. But here's a word from our sponsor for more information.
And 5678 podcast is sponsored by Chelsea Elise Dance Apparel. Use promo code BRAVEN for 10% off all orders over $25. Follow Catico at Cata_Co on Instagram.
Make sure to use my discount code BRAVEN to get 10% off of your order of $25 or more online. All right, Celine, and now it's time for our segment of the day. This is where the curtains close and the spotlights turn off. Let's get to the point.
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 So you have been with the Brooklynettes for a while, as you stated. And one thing that stood out to me about your journey is that you wanted to make a mark for yourself as Celine Boom, beyond being a Brooklynette. So today I want to talk to you about your journey beyond the courts. So first and foremost, what would you say was the turning point that led you to be known as Celine Boom?
Honestly, it started when I first trained. I mentioned earlier with my company here in Connecticut, Double Up Dance Company. My mentors, Paul and Brian Herman, they gave me that nickname Boom because I used to hit every single move so hard. Like I didn't know what textures were back then. So that's how I got the name Boom, because I just hit so hard. And I think that name has transcended to mean what my presence is, Like when I walk into the room, it's like I'm undeniable.
So what would you say inspired you to expand your career beyond being a Brooklynette or beyond the courts?
Honestly, two things. Seeing what other choreographers were achieving and could achieve, and seeing, as I had mentioned before, I didn't know that I could have a career in commercial dance. I didn't know I could have a lucrative or respectable career in this side of dance, because I thought the prestige came from being in a modern company or, in concert dance. So seeing what could be accomplished by all the other commercial choreographers and also concert dance choreographers who are kind of just merging the gap, inspired me, as well as my peers and my boss ladies at the Brooklynettes, namely Christia Long and Shanae Rivers and Asha Singh, who are colleagues of mine, but also just big sisters, and them pushing my choreographic ability, them pushing me to do things outside of, the team, and teaching, and even coming to take my class, my teammates as well, just kind of, for lack of a better word, hyping up my ability. I'm like, oh, I can do this, so.
Awesome. Can you share with us some other areas of entertainment, like some other gigs that you may have had?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done the VMAs twice, dancing for Maluma and Blackpink. I've been on Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, dancing for Meghan Trainor, Stephen Colbert, dancing with BB Rexa. I've choreographed for a bunch of artists as well, Busta Rhymes, Lil Kim, love Lil Kim, Coi Leray, Lola Brooke. Namely, I just did Ja Rule 2 weeks ago, last week.
Yes, I
Cash
saw that.
Cobain for my youngsters. I just choreographed for Cash Cobain. Yeah, those are. I mean, if I had to name drop, I was also in a movie called Christmas with You on Netflix. An Apple TV show as well called Lady in the Lake. That it stars Natalie Portman. Just released last month. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, the resume is there. We love that. Yes. What would you say is or has been the biggest challenge or challenges that you faced with branding yourself as Celine Dion?
Honestly, I'm still facing those challenges. And I just want to touch on what you said earlier. And I just want to shine some light and appreciate what you said about you noticing that I'm making a mark between bringing my talents beyond the court, because I'm still in the mindset of like, I don't know if people can see that. And so I just want to say thank you for that. But the challenges are self-doubt, not knowing if I measure up to the choreographers that I look up to. And now being, behind the table and being in this seat and being in this position, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm in this position now where I'm hiring or casting or choreographing, setting the steps. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So kind of like imposter syndrome a little bit, with branding myself. The logistics, social media and digital marketing, very, very hard. Also a full-time job with all the other things that I have going on. That's very hard to juggle. So that's been a challenge as well. And I feel like finding my niche. Like I'm trying to appeal to my audience. And obviously our niche is dance, right? We're dancers, we're in this realm. But just finding like what is my niche? Like what makes me me? And I think I'm figuring that out now.
Absolutely. And that's always important, especially when being a creator. What sets you apart from being like anybody else? Because a lot of people want to choreograph, a lot of people want to create, but what is it about your work is going to make people say, oh, this is Celine's work, or oh, we want Celine, we got to have Celine over here. So that's always important. But I do want to touch on something else. Um, Often as creators, we do get that imposter syndrome where we have that self doubt and start comparing ourselves. But I do want to give a little word of encouragement to you. And it's one of my favorite things to just tell myself time and time again. If you're in a room or if you have an opportunity, you were meant for that opportunity and it's for yours and it's for you. And so I just want to say, even though it can get scary sometimes because, we do have that self doubt, it's natural, right? But what's for you is always going to be for you and it'll never pass you by. So you're doing a great job. So I just want you to keep going.
Thank you so much for that.
No problem. Now, when you are creating, is there a difference or what difference in your approach do you have when you're creating for the courts and creating for like a stage or an artist? What is like your difference in your approach?
I think choreographing on any team, whether it be the court or the field, you have to keep in mind that while individuality is welcome, especially within my style, there has to be a level of cleanliness and uniformity. So I keep that in mind when choreographing on a team, because it's like, oh, certain things might not read. Is this easy to clean, this step, right? So certain things like that while still keeping my signature style. Now, when it comes to an artist or other projects for stage or what have you, there's a little bit more freedom to make choices. And I think that's one thing that makes me as a choreographer. I really push the dancers to make choices so that their individuality can come through. I'm not super stickler on, oh, the pinky's here, the head is here, unless, it's needed to clean. But I would say those are the biggest things. For the court and the field, for teams, it's cleanliness first. And then for everything else, it's like, I'm more free.
Yeah, that makes sense. How has your visibility as a Brooklynette helped open doors for you in other parts of the industry?
Well, it's what helped me switch agents. I'm now wrapped by Fatima and United Talent Agency, and yeah, that story's crazy. That came from being a Brooklynette. Just having the credit as a Brooklynette and now the assistant coach, that's something I can put on my resume and it gives me more credibility. working with these artists, being able to connect with them after halftime shows and even in rehearsal, and connecting with them on that level as well for artist development. Yeah, and just really stamping my name in the New York community.
Exactly. Yeah, and building a network is so important as a dancer, as a creative, especially going into the lane that you're pursuing. It's definitely important, and you just can't be afraid to like make those connections because it's gonna help in the long run. Because at the end of the day, if you don't take the time to do that, one thing I like to let people know is that you miss 100% of the chances that you don't take.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, are there any mentors that have helped push you to pursuing a career beyond the courts?
Yes. Paul Herman, I want to give him his flowers because he's definitely, and his brother Brian, they both kind of jump started my career in commercial dance, but Paul is still someone I can like call and he will tell me what the next move is for me. Like, it's just a true mentor seeing my star quality when I can't see it. Chrissia Long, she's the senior director of entertainment at Brooklynette, and she also is somebody that I can call and has always been rooting for me. So I would say those two mentors. I feel like I'm missing someone, and they're probably gonna cuss me out if they get it.
It's okay. Well, shout out to them because listen, shout out to them though because they know who they are. So
They know who they are.
yeah. Now this is the $1,000,000 question. What do you hope to be remembered for as Celine Boom? Like, what legacy is it that you want to leave behind?
That's such a hard question. It's so funny. My son's name is Legacy.
Really? Wow.
Authenticity and just being real. For real. Like, I just want to be known for always standing 10 toes down in what I believe in, having a good heart, and just, leading with love, and knowing that, like, to know me is to love me. Like, if you were ever in my presence, you never felt belittled, you've never felt like played, and just, all of the ugly things that come with the industry. I don't want anybody that comes in contact with me personally or professionally to feel that,
Exactly.
So.
Yes, I love that because one of the things that stick out to me a lot about a lot of my guests that come on the show is that they always talk about being authentic. And if that's not a sign or if that's not a word, I don't know what else is because everybody has literally been saying that. And it's so important because the industry, it can get difficult. It can try to change you. It can try to force you to be something that you're not. And it's just like if you stand 10 toes down on who you are, stand on your beliefs, nobody can take that from you. And people are going to see that. And that's going to make people want to work with you more, give you more opportunities because there's this stigma about what the industry is or what it can be. So when you see a different light, it's like a breath of fresh air. And it's like, that's what we want around. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Now, do you have any advice or final words for dancers who may have been working in a specific lane for so long and they're looking to, go into a different route?
Answer the call.
Mm.
You got to answer the call because if not, the man upstairs is going to force you one way or another. And life is too short to not do what makes you happy and to go after your dreams. Take little steps towards it each and every day. It doesn't have to be a big step. You're not going to get there tomorrow. Rome wasn't built in a day, but just go towards it.
Absolutely. I love that a lot. Thank you for sharing that.
I was speaking to myself too.
And sometimes that's necessary. Listen, sometimes that is definitely necessary because I'm still learning. It's like I have that in the back of my mind daily, but it's never. I'm always like taking that and learning and still remembering that all the time because I've been in situations where it's like I ended up leaving Atlanta because I felt like I had a calling to do so. And once I did that, it was crazy. I started getting a lot more opportunities, book commercials, book movies, became a dancer for the NBA, all things that has never been something that I said, I want to put this on my resume, but it was meant for me. I answered the call. I was obedient to what God was telling me. I had no idea why. But it was like, I'm not going to question it. My spirit, God is telling me, hey, you need to move. And if he calls, you bet, hello.
Hello, you better pick it up.
You better pick up the phone. But yes, but I definitely want to thank you for coming on. Can you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Yes, you guys can find me and follow me on Instagram at Celine Boom _.
All righty, that concludes this episode of In 5678. It's your boy, Vaz Brave. Please be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Vaz Brave and stay updated on all our latest episodes at In 5678 Podcast, now streaming on all platforms. Here's your daily reminder to always dance like nobody's watching and love like it's never gonna hurt. Shout out to my sponsors, K2Co Streetwear, Ranger Worldwide, and Felicity Digital Land. Until next time, y'all.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.